Welcome, everybody. Hi, everybody. It's Coach Abby.
Coach Logan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome to our video
Nobody news.
for Nobi News.
Yeah.
And today I am wearing pants because they're soft. So
I'm glad you're wearing pants.
yeah, I am also wearing pants. But I have pants on my neck as well because they're soft.
Pants off, dance off.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Nope. They're soft and warm, so cover my shoulders a little bit. Give me some texture.
What are we talking about
Anyway.
today, Abby?
We are discussing benefits of having a therapist from a personal lens, from personal experience. So, sharing things that we've learned and noticed from our own experiences of having therapists.
Therapist. Come on. Going live here.
Boom!
You're too hyped now. Gotta tone it down.
Yeah. They don't say that in the Coldplay song. Boom!
They should. The remix.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, we might get copywritten right there because we're so good.
True.
Copywritten by Coldplay.
It's gonna be like, do you have this music in the background? You can't post this video.
Right. So, therapy.
Yes.
When
Can you ask me a question?
When did you start?
The first time that I ever saw like a counselor or therapist was like 2013, 2014 in college. And then I did that a couple of times. And then in the very beginning of 2018, like January, might have been the end of 2017 actually, I started with a therapist and I still work with her now.
So you're coming up on 5 years, 5-ish years?
Already over, yeah.
Okay. So don't need to really go into the details necessarily of why you started going to therapy, but over the first experiences with therapy, what did you notice was the biggest help?
I think the biggest help was, I mean, there's a couple things. One, having the opportunity to get the things that get stuck in my brain out of there.
Earwax.
Yes.
No, okay.
My earwax.
That's not how the anatomy works.
So having a space where I felt comfortable doing that, and then also that it was with another person, so having that like relational safety as well to kind of share what one I was going through, but also talk about and like learn about what emotions are. So started that was probably like one of the central parts of what I started to do whenever I started with therapy was learning about. I mean, of course, I know what emotions are and like kind of like knew what they were and all of those kinds of things, but I didn't really know how to actually experience them in a way that felt like really meaningful and I mean, just like full. Like I couldn't really fully experience any of the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and learning how to like start to understand that stuff, I guess, was super helpful. So, because I do have, I mean, definitely am a perfectionist. It's a lot less now than it was whenever I first started, but that not only goes for like achieving and accomplishing things and overachieving basically all the time to also emotionally being perfect and like kind of like being ahead of my emotions all the time. So if I didn't have it figured out, then that emotion necessarily didn't make sense or was never like spoken about. So very logical. Didn't want to like make my emotions a burden on other people. So or anything that I might be feeling or going through. So it was all kind of on me to, or I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that I dealt with those things and handled them without any help, and in a way that also allowed me to overachieve and accomplish a lot of things. So, which I'm definitely glad that I did all those things. But anyway.
Right. So what would be the number one thing you would tell someone who's considering getting therapist or feel like they need someone to talk to in their assessment of going through the process of actually getting, let's say that they already booked it up, they already found someone, they're going to start going to that person.
Mm-hmm.
What's the advice you'd give to someone pre-therapy? Like they're nervous, they're excited, they want to be able to do these things for themselves, emotional changes. It's like, what would be
Yeah.
something like expectation that you would give to this person and kind of keep
Um,
them in an even keel?
I think it would be a couple of things of just like, first of all, having an idea of what you want to get out of the relationship for yourself and like what you think would be helpful for you. Because not all the time the first person that you work with is going to be like the right therapist or anything for you.
You can bring that hand out.
Doesn't make them doing any what.
You can use this hand so you don't
Okay.
dance with this hand.
Doesn't mean that they're doing anything wrong, but it is definitely an individual process. So having some idea, um, or even just spending some time thinking about like what you're looking for, what feels comfortable for you, what kinds of things, if that comes up, are you like unsure about talking about? And then on the other side of that is understanding that the person that you're talking to is not there to judge you. They're not there. They're there to help you. So as much as you feel comfortable, kind of leaning into all the things that maybe you don't want to tell them or you don't want to talk to them about, just lean into that as much as you can and understand that they're there to help you, and they're, no matter what, how, if you think something's like super out there or whatever just going on in your brain, like they're not, they're never going to make you feel like that they're never going to make you feel worse about that. Or in the event something happened, they're going to acknowledge it and say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And if they don't do that, then maybe that's not a good fit because that shouldn't really happen. But
Right.
there is potential for whenever you're sharing really vulnerable things, for harm to be done in a response that doesn't feel great or whatever it is, and vice versa. It could happen. Like you could say something to your therapist that doesn't feel great for them. So just keep those things in mind. But anyway, coming back to my original point, I would say just have an idea of what you're looking to get out of it, and then just have an open mind about where you're willing to go and the things that you're willing to talk about, because they're going to help you notice and understand things that on your own, what you wouldn't have. So,
Uh-huh.
which is a great thing. It does make you bad, or make it bad that you couldn't figure it out on your own. That's what also relationships are for. So,
Right.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty good. That's good. Yeah. Means it's there.
True. Okay. Running it back. Repeating the same questions for you.
That's fine.
Or do you have any other questions for me?
No, I think that pretty much gets a good,
okay,
ample information.
Yeah, I think so. All right. So
to not like stumble into the roulette of redundancy. I'll try to do a little bit of what I asked you, but more from a lens that gives more information, different information.
I don't know what that.
I'm going to try to say what I have to say, but not repeat what you just said as examples. So it's more information for people.
Okay.
So what was the first question?
When did you start going to therapy?
Oh,
and
I started going
not necessarily having to dive into why.
Right.
Yeah.
So therapy for me has been like an off and on thing for a long time. My parents had counseling as a family. We went a couple times, and then I went by myself. Oh gosh, like 5 years ago, and then I was going before COVID happened, and then didn't work out because COVID, and I didn't want to do virtual. So recently, it's been almost coming up on 2 years now, consistently going. Like it was about every other week. Now it's about every 3 weeks. So maintaining a pretty good schedule with that stuff now for over 2 years, in person. It's for me, it was an opportunity to feel uncomfortable. So being able to take a space in a place where I could be uncomfortable, I could be even more in the world of I want to figure this out but it's like it's like going into a burning building, and all the emotional trauma that you've ever had is a burning building. But when you go into therapy, it's like, hey, we're going to go into this burning building, but put on this completely fireproof suit first, and we're going to kind of walk through each little spot that we're like, oh, let's put out this fire. Let's put out this fire. You're not going to get burned. Not necessarily, unless the person who gave you the fireproof suit is a sham bam wham liar, pants on fire. But
Metaphors with Logan.
being able to go through a burning building and not worry about catching fire or for suffering more burns or whatever in that burning building, which is a good metaphor for everyone's life.
Yeah.
Depending
Especially
on how many,
when you're used to being burned by the fire.
I mean, most fires, do burn.
Right, but like,
yeah, some people grow up in homes that don't have it isn't engulfed in flames.
Right.
Or you learn how to not go to that room because it's engulfed in flames.
Mm-hmm.
But for this instance, you're able to go through and work through those things. And then that's what, for me, like the idea of therapy was to be able to go through in a safe, compassionate way that I have someone who can objectively listen to what I have to say. But I don't want to open that door. I'm like, no, you can open that door. It's like,
it's okay.
You're good. You can go. And then like, nah. And then they're like, I'm gonna kick you. And then they sometimes force you into that door, knowing that like once you land, you're like, oh, I'm good. Mm-hmm. You're right. So having someone that can actually challenge you a little bit as well, get you outside of your comfort zone, not to where you're at any harm or unnecessary harm, because going through therapy and that process of rehashing trauma and not actually focusing with it and dealing with it can become detrimental for sure. Re-traumatizing. Yeah. You expose yourself to what you were trying to remember. It becomes such a like somatic experience, and then you're just open and exposed to what it was without reframing what that actual thing was. So having someone that can work through, give you the opportunity to push a little bit further than you thought you could, and then also
but in a gentle way.
Yeah, but with the expectations set, and then asking for what you need in those moments as well. Like, yeah, I really need to get to the top shelf of this burning kitchen, but can you give me a boost? Like I need a boost. I need help.
Yeah.
So being able to ask for the help that you need, in this metaphorical instance, being able to sift through and kind of go through more things that you need help with, but actually like, oh, if you want coping mechanisms, let that be known. If you need day-to-day help, let that be known. So going in with a plan, if you need to take notes before going into therapy and all those things, very helpful.
Also, if you have no idea, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Be like, you don't know what it is. You just know there's things.
Verbalize it.
Great.
Yeah.
Tell them you have no idea.
Make that known. You having no idea and being willing to talk about it is an idea. So don't undervalue that. And only advice that I would give to someone, definitely ask for what you need. Like going in with the idea of what Abby was talking about, having a plan, what you want to try to accomplish, making sure they can be objective, listen to you, and you feel like you can have these discussions that are necessary. You don't want to be able to like go into the burning building and just like, nah, that's fine, take the suit off, run away. You want to be able to go through every room and then put out the fires necessary.
Right.
They give you the extinguisher as well, but sometimes you have to figure out how to use it.
Yeah.
Pull the pin.
Yeah.
Squeeze 6 foot away. Give your wave.
Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
Yeah, there you go.
Pass.
So, yeah, that'd be my best advice. So, in conclusion, what's the summation, Abby?
I mean, if you're thinking about it and you're curious about even if you're just wondering what like working with a therapist would be like, go for it. That's your brain's like has an opening to learn new things and understand yourself in different ways. Then you should let yourself do that.
Yeah.
Give yourself the assuming it's within your means and all of those kinds of things, but let yourself go explore that and find someone that feels safe and comfortable to go explore those things with, because it definitely is not easy all the time, but like there's no way that I would go back to not doing that now.
Yes. Do it. If you have any questions or need some reassurance, have any other questions for
Yeah,
us,
let us know.
comments below. It can be a vulnerable thing. So,
It is.
yeah, it is. So, definitely comments is fine.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
My
There's
first therapy that I did, actually, I left this one out, was, well, I guess not first, it would be the second before I started. Um, so, I don't know, 8 years ago, maybe? I don't know, 7 years ago, doesn't matter. I did like the texting therapy on BetterHelp, and it was helpful. And then I realized that I needed something more. I needed to talk to someone in person, but that was also a really helpful tool. So if it feels too scary to talk to someone face to face or via video or whatever, go for the like texting.
yeah, whatever's low friction.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, texting's the entry drug, the gateway drug
Yeah.
to
I
in
mean, it was
person.
like emailing basically.
Yeah,
You could send as much or as little as you wanted to and get questions back and things to think about. So,
yeah.
and that felt like the right amount for me
Yeah, just
at the
like
time.
we were talking about in our previous video with it's okay to be anxious and all those things that anxious things come up. Create the scenario that allows for it to be the most control that you can have. If it is a texting, and then
Hmm.
that's accepting like what you're able to do at that moment. If it's journaling, like the other one we had before, and that's a
Hmm.
good start for you just actually being able to get your thoughts out and be comfortable with that stuff. And
Hmm.
then bring your journals in.
Yeah.
Have those as talking points and conversations for things you want to work on. It's
Hmm.
not a bad idea.
Yep. Yeah, everyone, going also back to the last video with the stress responses,
Mhm.
everyone has like a window. It's called window of tolerance. Basically, it's, you could kind of think of it as like the amount of discomfort and stress you're able to kind of take on and face in a moment or in a therapy session or whatever, or in fitness or exercise or whatever it is. And the if you get too close to the edges or you go too far outside of the edges, that's when you can shut down, get really angry, like you're just kind of, it's not a productive zone necessarily. So finding things that just push you kind of right to the edges. I'm sure you can maybe visualize this for yourself in terms of like what that might feel like when you start to get a little overwhelmed or start to get a little warm and like angry and agitated. Okay, you might be close to the end of your window, and you know that's a good indicator of like maybe you're trying to push yourself too hard, or whatever it is. And then on the other side is like when you start to shut down or disassociate or like lose focus, and you're just not there anymore. You That's also an example of being outside of your window. So exploring where that window is, and then that process allows that window to get bigger.
It's two windows.
So yes, so sometimes even just like bringing something up can put you outside of the window, and like your therapist should kind of be able to notice those things going on. So to help you, just navigate where to go with that kind of stuff. And it doesn't mean you're going to be spending all of your time outside of, in an unmanageable, like you said, like they're not going to push you in an unmanageable way, because that's actually not helpful. So, um, yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know if that made sense.
It does. It's like with a simple geology idea of erosion.
Mm-hmm.
So, however you make a river bend or a riverbed or all these things, or let's say like a lake fills up, and if you're filling up your own personal lake, and let's say this level of like resiliency within that idea is your dried lake bed. So you have this dried lake bed. Let's give it a demonstration here. So you have a dry lake bed, and all the ability to tolerate things is filling this up. And then you could fill it up to about here, which is great, and then a little bit of erosion and sediment and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But this is still going to be your level. If you are able to take it up to the top, this will erode down a little bit more, and then this will erode down a little bit more. So then your ability to be resilient within that moment has now expanded to about this width.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to take it to the edge every time, you're able to expand your ability every time, just like training a muscle. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
progressive overload, but for your emotions. You want to walk the line that's enough, but not too much to where it fills, overflows, breaks, levees all here. This is the
Mm-hmm.
levee breaking. There you go. Great visual representation.
Broken levee, which can be repaired, but
right.
Just, you know.
Army Corps of Engineers come in there and they're like, "What did you do, Louisiana?" Yep. It's a
Right.
Katrina thing. Yeah. I'm old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh God, I need to go to therapy after that. All right. Let us know if you guys have any questions. Leave them in the comments below. We can kind of help direct you where you need to, resources and all those things. But like and subscribe. It's fun. More personal things.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.